Now normally you'd find me visiting a castle, you know, these great buildings where the nobs live. But today I want to show you something far more important in history and far more ordinary. This is where real medieval life happened, and it might just change the way you think about medieval and even Tudor life. This is Bayleaf Farmhouse. Imagine living in a house like this. 500 years of history. Began life in the late medieval times, continued through the Tudor period. Welcome to Bayleaf Farm, here at the Weald Downland Open Air Museum. This is one of their first buildings that were deconstructed, brought here and reconstructed. It's an open hall farmhouse with a few additions. This would have been pretty much luxury. This is an impressive building. No Wi-Fi, no flushing toilet, although it does have an inside toilet. I'll show you that, as Kevin normally does. This would have been quite the place, but it's a hive of activity. It's not just a house, it's a business. So let's go inside and have a look at Bayleaf Farmhouse. So we're entering the farmhouse, and it's a hall. If you have a look up above there, there's no chimney. Just smoke, blackened walls and a roof. That's because when this house was first built in the early 15th century, the hall was heated by a central fire, a hearth right in the middle of the floor. Now, I thought that, you know, you'd be lighting this fire and everybody would have the smoke around, but I'll tell you from experience of being an ex-soldier, you can be lighting this fire so it hardly smokes. So the smoke would have collected up there, but down here you might not have had much. But this is the centre of the household, isn't it? This hall. I love it. I really do. Look at the decoration on the walls. That's actually showing off. And somebody's been fletching here. Perhaps this is a trade on the side. They are making arrows. I love it. There's plenty of room in here. Yeah, this is a great room and lots of period furniture. But look at those windows. No glass, just those great big wooden shutters. And as you can see, lots of light can get through. That means in the winter time, they'd be quite drafty. So to keep the draft out, they would drape cloth over the windows as well. So not just shutters, but you'd have some cloth as well. Keep the heat in as best you can. But out the back here, you've got the pantry, the food store. The word pantry, by the way, comes from the French word pain, meaning bread. And this is the buttery, but they didn't have butter in here. But is for the barrels. This is where they stored their ale and their wine. Most important part of the house in my book. Now, while some cooking would have been done over the fire in the hall, houses like this often had a separate kitchen, which was usually detached from the house. They would bake there and brew their ale. And the reason it's separate from the house, well, really, it's quite obvious. Fire, the big danger. You see what I found here? These are interesting. A little bit of detail. These are patterns. So if you're walking through the mud, you don't want the mud and the filth to go into your shoes. You wear these. They're a kind of over sandal. Yeah, and some of them could be quite bigger than this. Keep you well up out of the mud. Patterns. Bit of every ordinary day life, eh? So we're coming out the hall into what appears to be a downstairs bedroom. But it's actually the parlour, a multi-purpose room. So if you look, this is more than actually just a bedroom. You've got wall coverings for decoration and warmth, a series of windows. So this is going to be light and airy in the summertime. But here, this double bed, this is quite a bed. Solid oak frame. And if you look underneath, it's strung. And this is where the saying comes from, sleep tight, because these were wound absolutely as tight as a drum. So these are nice mattresses. This is a straw mattress. And this one is down-filled. So you're nice and comfortable. You literally are going to sleep tight. Now, around you look, linen chests. a table, place for the children to play. And this, I haven't seen one of these for years. This is a baby walker. You put the baby in it and you literally, they can wheel away. That's quite unusual. I haven't seen one of these for a very long time. And then around in the corner, there is also a spinning wheel to manufacture goods, because this farmhouse, that's what it's all about. It's a little bit of industry, but not forgetting decoration on the wall. This is the face of Christ. We're early Tudor, so they would have still been Catholic in those days. But I do like this because it's an industrious place. Jug of water. Say you have a jug and a basin, jug of water, so that they can wash themselves. That cat lick, as we used to call it. But there's another little thing in this room. It's a happy thing, but it's a tragic thing. It's a crib for a bairn, for a baby. And when you think about mortality rates in those days, raising children was not easy. Let's have a look upstairs. Oops. God, these are big steps. Up here is the solar, the private quarters, what today we would call the bedroom. Oh wow, look at this for a bedroom. I wouldn't expect this. Take a look at how they built this roof here. This is what is called an arch-braced beam with a crown post. And it has pegged tiles. I love those. And when you stand here and look up at it, you can really appreciate the craftsmanship of those who worked in the medieval times. They have a linen chest for spare clothing, spare bedding, that kind of thing. But they even have a linen wall cover, highly decorated. I love it. And they have another storage chest. So it's showing you these people here, they've got spare clothes, they've got things to store. And then this magnificent four-poster bed. But there's more to it than it just being a bed. If I move around here, you can actually see there's another bed underneath. This is the truckle bed. They actually roll out. So this could be for your children, it could be for a servant. And then you can see they've got a fur covering over the bed there. So this is lovely. And people say, oh, four-poster bed. Well, you close everything off, so you've got privacy, and it's not drafty, and you've got a covering above your head. So any little beasties that drop in the night, they won't drop on you, they'll drop on the canopy. It's great, isn't it? Yeah, rank has its privileges, as they would say. Once again, you have jug and basin, so they can wash themselves, because there's a very important little room here. So this is actually an ensuite bedroom, would you believe? A Tudor farmhouse has a master bedroom that is ensuite. You have washing facilities and you have the privy. Not the most glamorous part of the house, but very practical, and as you can see, plenty of ventilation. And over here in the corner, you have a simple mattress on the floor. Servant or an older child. So this is interesting, no glass in the window, so shutters. Now over yonder you have a hinged shutter that closes in. But here you have one that lifts up. If you look next door, you can see it's already in place and it's being held through the groove and the knot above. So up, locked, and you've shuttered the house, you're closing it down. Now, back downstairs. We're heading over to the other side of the house to have a look at the upstairs room. This is quite interesting. This is obviously where the rest of the family sleeps. So you might have a grown-up son, daughter-in-law, and their family can stay up here. So not quite as high status as the room at the other end of the house, but still quite something with wooden beds. There's a little potty there. We used to call those gazundas because it goes under the bed. It's what you can have a pee in, because this room does not have the luxury of an ensuite. And interestingly, lots of big windows, but no shutters on here. These are the ones that you pick up by hand, you fix in place. So, what a lovely room. It's interesting because the roof construction, the cross beams, it's all a mirror image of the room at the far end of the house. The one big thing that's missing is the privy and of course the four-poster bed. This is an interesting piece. I just realised, I think I know what this is. First of all, it's not sawn timber. This has all been hewn and then smoothed off. Now, because of where it is in the house, in the bedroom, I thought this was a linen press where you keep your best linen, but it's not. It's actually a grain ark or a hutch, a grain hutch, where you keep your precious seed or grain for next year's sowing for the harvest. But if you take the lid off, turn it upside down, it's hollowed out. So you can knead your dough for making bread. So perhaps they could keep their good flour inside it as well. This whole thing comes apart so it can be stored flat packed. But when it's put together, it really is a kind of a safe, because you've got to keep the little beasts out, otherwise it'll be destroyed in no time at all. Originally, Bayleaf Farmhouse stood in Chiddingstone in Kent, but by the 1960s it was in a pretty dilapidated state. It could have easily tumbled down and been lost, but instead it was dismantled, timber by timber, and brought here and rebuilt at the Weald Downland Museum. This beautiful slice of history has been saved. You see here on the corner, the upright, you can see where it's split and they've braced it and repaired it. So it's a constant battle to keep these houses upright, and that's just a superb piece of repair work. You know, it's amazing, isn't it, the detail that they've gone through. We've got all of the gardens, you know, it's got all of the different plants, somewhere to hang your washing. But this is important. The well. So they had access to fresh water, and yet they still drank ale. And it's interesting because one of the old legends is they didn't drink water because it was filthy. That's not true. They drank ale because it was a good drink, it was a nice drink, good flavour. They always had fresh water, so if they wanted a drink of fresh water, they got it from the well. People weren't stupid in history. They knew if water was bad until the centre of London, but that's a whole different period. But this would have been a bustling farmyard. People would be coming and going. And this garden, I know it looks peaceful now, but it would have kept the family fed all year round. Cabbages, leeks, onions, garlic, herbs like parsley and marjoram, chamomile for tea, and hyssop for making ointments. There's the wood store there, so you might have timber being cut. There's the barn. Across the way from the house is the kitchen, so there wasn't a kitchen in the house. But this is so upmarket. If you look just there, it's what you would call in a castle a garderobe, but it's actually a privy. And you'd have people who would come and they would remove the soil. It would be spread on the land. It wouldn't build up and it wouldn't be disgusting. You don't want it there to ferment because it might get into the water supply. But the whole thing would have worked. So I don't know if you noticed in the farmhouse there was something missing, and they call it the kitchen. But I think this is more than a kitchen. This is part of the industry of the farmhouse. The brewing of ale. They may have even brewed some beer. They're actually different. Ale doesn't have hops in it. It's amazing what you learn, isn't it? But in here, they could be salting beef, salting pork, getting that kind of meat ready to be transported to market in London. This is a business. Baking bread is taken care of in here. Dairy, everything. This is the industrial part of the whole business. The rearing of the animals is over there. The slaughter will be done outside. Then the processing plant is in here. As well, of course, of feeding the family. So there will be food being made for them. And just to let you know about salting meat. You salt it properly, It can last you the best part of a year, but before you eat it, you've got to soak it and wash out all of that salt. So this is more than a kitchen. This is a kitchen complex. Quite something, eh? So the bottom one here is a copper, so you can actually boil up all of the ingredients you need for ale. And it's interesting because the first pressing of the ale, so I've been told, is the strongest, and that's for the men. The second pressing, bit not quite as strong, the ladies could have it, and then as you pressed it more and more, washed it through, then you have your alcohol-free beer. And then of course, your bread oven, most important, your daily bread. So there you have it, Bayleaf Farmhouse. It wasn't just a home, it was a whole way of life that ran like a well-oiled machine. There were no kings, no battles, just an ordinary family making it work, century after century. And in its own quiet way, I think this is a fascinating story. Well, I hope you enjoyed our walk around Bayleaf Farmhouse. It's a transition from the medieval to the Tudor times, and you can see how times had changed. To me, magnificent. Well, if you enjoyed that video, like, share and subscribe. And if you'd like to support our channel further, why not have a look at joining our Patreon community? The link is in the description. But for now, we're going to enjoy the sunshine down here in West Sussex. Bye for now.